Kind of maybe okay. You bet your butt I went back next week, and every week following. The second time I attended USGA, I conceded to tell Claire where I was going. I felt wrong keeping her in the dark. Her reaction was as expected. She disliked the idea of me meeting other gay people, but I was firm. I told her the truth, in part. USGA was a group that supported gay BYU students. Members could not use the group to get dates. Despite having been only once, I pitched it as, it's just this group thing I go to weekly. Perhaps I had bent the truth. I needed this one thing to control in my life. I arrived at the library late. Claire, true to herself, had dragged out our parting. I had invited her, but she declined my offer. Her consistent refusal to acknowledge this aspect of my life frustrated me. Instead, she pushed for sex. It would have been so much easier to just dump her then, but knowing what the relationship had been at the start kept me bound to Claire. Marrying a woman felt right, easy, and socially invisible. I just wanted to go through life, follow the plan, and be the good, obedient boy I had always been. Why did it have to be so hard? Why did she have to make it so hard? But it almost didn't matter. My life had a source of hope in it for the first time since last year when I stopped being able to feel the spirit. The shockwaves of meeting Easton made it hard to remember why exactly I was in a relationship in the first place. I rushed into the library, heart pounding. As much as I would have liked to deny it, I felt excited to see Easton. I just wanted to see him, maybe even talk to him. Then I would leave. I walked into the library conference room. The meeting had already begun. I found a seat in my standard back right corner. Around 70 others were in attendance. I scanned the room and spotted Easton sitting on the other side, unaware of me. My stomach did a little jig. Then it sank in horror. Easton leaned over and whispered into the ear of a guy sitting beside him. His apparent escort grinned and whispered back. They seemed friendly. They knew one another well. Did Easton have a boyfriend? Disappointment washed over me. Secret thoughts of being alone with Easton evaporated. I tried not to feel rejected. I had a girlfriend. Things were going fine. Sure, I was a bit miserable. Okay, a lot miserable. But come on, whose life was perfect anyway? For the rest of the meeting, I ignored Easton, refusing to look at him or be caught fawning over a guy. I wasn't even properly gay, damn it. One of the 3 USGA presidents acted as the proctor for this week's meeting. She was short, with hair trimmed at ear level. Today, we're going to be doing an activity where we get to stand for others, she said before the audience. She explained, and we began the activity. We were all handed a slip of paper with checkmark boxes numbered 1 to 30 and pencils. We were shown a series of statements and had to check the corresponding box on the paper if the statement applied to us. Every 5 questions, we shuffled the papers among the group for anonymity and continued the next set where the last person left off. When the 70 people had answered every question, the papers were shuffled and distributed a final time to the group. She read the statements one by one. We were meant to stand if the corresponding box on our paper was checked. We were representing other people's answers. The questions ranged in caliber from, I didn't always know as a child where my next meal would come from, to, I have considered committing suicide within the last 5 years. Almost everyone stood up for the suicide statement. Someone in the room had stood for me, and I had stood for someone else. I had never felt so connected to a room full of strangers. These people had lived my life, or a version of my life that might have been. The only comparable feeling was my camaraderie with missionaries I had served with. But this was something new. These people understood the things of which I had never spoken. They knew without asking the thoughts of anxiety and pain that I dared not speak for fear of exposing my flaw and needing to be fixed. The meeting ended, and someone once again invited everyone out to eat. This week they had chosen slab pizza, a personal favorite of mine. I stood, once again determined to leave before anyone could talk to me, especially Easton. I exited to the hall before stopping short in hesitation. Would I leave? During my hesitation, someone approached me. Not Easton. It was the guy sitting beside him earlier, whom I had assumed was Easton's boyfriend. What's your name? He asked. We exchanged pleasantries. His name was Daniel, and he was a UVU student. He seemed to absorb my every word as if each carried unique importance. It was turning out to be quite difficult to hate him. People you want to hate but can't are the worst. Daniel paused, giving me a sympathetic look. Are you okay, Johnny? His eyes assessed me. I know I'm a stranger, but I have to ask. My mind broke in responding to such a sincerely stated yet ridiculously invasive question. Short answer, no, I was not okay. Long answer, well, the long answer was about the length of this book up till now. I noticed you back in the meeting. Daniel motioned behind himself to the conference room door. You looked like you had the weight of the world on your shoulders. My eyes twitched, and suddenly I was holding back months of emotion. It was almost unfair. I had constructed a tall, emotional wall to shut everyone out. People were dangerous and unsafe. Daniel knocked down my wall with a few words. I nodded, unable to do anything else, but that seemed like an appropriate response. Daniel placed a hand on my shoulder. His eyebrows furrowed in raw, selfless compassion. I just want you to know I've been there. If you ever want to talk, please let me know. I nodded again, unable to speak. Easton appeared in the doorway, leaving the conference room. He looked at me, smiled, and then approached. You coming to dinner tonight? 2 minutes ago, the answer to that question was a resounding hell no. Now, however, I not only wanted to go, but felt as if I needed to. Sure. I would play along, even if Easton was stupid and already had a boyfriend. Perfect, Daniel said. He was flamboyant in a way I didn't know how to handle. You can drive with us. I carpooled with them to Slab Pizza in Easton's car. Oh, Daniel said as he flipped through Easton's CDs. Can we listen to Sam Smith? I love him. We listened to Sam Smith. Easton pulled out onto the street. I had left my car in the library parking garage. I assessed the backs of their heads from the middle back seat, still put out over having found myself in a late 2010s YA dystopian love triangle. So, how do you two know each other? Daniel shot a sideways smirk back at me. Easton and I are best freaking friends. We talk all the time. Easton served in one of my wards, so we met on his mission. Easton's mirthful laugh gave me cautious hope. We knew even then that the other was gay. And then we both ended up in Provo, Daniel continued. At first, we thought about dating, but then we realized we're not attracted to each other at all, so we became best friends. Oh, how funny. I laughed, feeling more relief than I ever would have admitted to either of them. I had begun to suspect I had misinterpreted Easton's interest in me last week. It's rare to feel so happy about being wrong. So Johnny, Daniel said, how gay are you? This, to put it lightly, was a vertigo-inducing question for me. Sexuality, particularly my own, was not something I knew how to discuss. The whole topic made me uncomfortable. Daniel's a little blunt, if you didn't notice, Easton said. Daniel snorted. All good. My voice searched for strength. The question may have made me uncomfortable, but I also felt a strange relief he had asked. I think I'm somewhere in the middle. Maybe more on the side of liking guys. But I have a girlfriend. I gave an awkward glance to Easton. But I mean, Daniel said with a hand motion. You like dick, right? I sputtered. I guess so? Daniel nodded from the front seat. I suppressed a grin, looking out at the darkening streets. We arrived at Slab Pizza, ordered, and happened to sit beside two straight girls who had come to USGA for a research project. Turns out gays are a phenomenon worthy of study in Provo. When Daniel learned they were straight, he leaned forward with wide eyes and said, How does it feel to be able to check guys out and not feel like you're sinning? Such was his personality, no filter and not afraid to ask the questions everyone else was thinking. I wanted to talk to Easton, and in a way, I did. We all swapped life stories, which was the first time I had spoken of my childhood in relation to being gay. I talked about having a girlfriend, but avoided going into the details of our relationship. It was too sensitive. I joked about having turned down a gay date in high school. No one seemed to think my recounting of the story was funny, so I bit my lip. What do you like to do? Easton asked. I like to write, I said. Oh, cool, like articles? Science fiction. Easton's face fell. Of course. People always lost interest in my writing when I broke it to them that I write genre fiction. Easton's expression was familiar. It said, You write that drivel? It's cute that you even bother to get out of bed in the morning. And very brave. I could overlook a bit of bias. I still wanted to be friends with him. We finished dinner. Going out onto 800 North, Daniel once again reached out to me, giving me a much-needed pep talk. He turned to me. The others were still leaving the restaurant, granting us a moment of relative privacy. I need you to believe that you will be all right. He said, Okay. God loves you. I know he does. And I love you. I'll be there for you if you ever need to talk. Please, let me know. I will, I said. The world was just a little more right on the way home. A little more kind, charitable, and understanding. Daniel somehow turned hope and optimism into tangible emotions. And I really needed that at the moment.